like to thank you all for allowing me to join this space and present the validated statement by the youth of the Americas and the Caribbean. My name is Kristina Doughorty. I'm a 25-year-old PhD candidate of Geography and Geology, and I'm also a member of the Youth Steering Committee. I would also like to extend a special thank you to the Minister Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Government of Jamaica, Ms. Mami Mizuturi, Special Representative of the UN Secretary General for Disaster Risk Reduction and the head of the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, as well as the ministers from the region. This statement is the result of the Youth Forum on Disaster Risk Reduction developed virtually in the framework of the participatory meeting of the 7th Regional Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction. The Youth Forum, under the same theme, Building Resilient Economies in the Americas and the Caribbean, had the participation of over 400 youth from the region. The forum allowed for the discussion of the young people to build this statement, which is supported by the members of the steering committee, including the Government of Jamaica, the UNDRR, UNICEF, Red Cross, UNESCO, and GNDR. While the Youth Forum was held on October 26, 2021, the statement is a culmination of the work by the Youth Committee since 2020. This includes the development of a youth survey with over 1,000 responses from the region, a webinar on disaster risk reduction and climate change on the International Day of the Youth, and a virtual disaster risk reduction communication campaign. The statement is as follows. We, the youth, have concerns on the current messaging on disaster risk. While climate change impacts the frequency, magnitude, and extent of hazards, there needs to be a separate messaging on disaster risk reduction and climate change. Youth and policymakers need to understand that disasters are not natural, but as a result of social and political actions. We find that hazards are changing faster than policies, and there is a greater need for collaboration within the scientific community and policymakers. This will allow for the generation of holistic plans and policies, including nationally determined contributions that will help to build the resilience of the region. We urge our government for more inclusivity and diversity in leadership spaces on disaster risk reduction and management. The voices of youth, vulnerable groups, and Indigenous people need to be included and acted upon to create a sustainable future for the region. We believe there is a greater need for investment in disaster risk financing at the local level and more structured psychosocial support programs to assist persons impacted by disasters. We call on you not to destroy and degrade the environment for short-term economic gain, but to view our environment as a protective barrier against the impacts of hazardous events. Disaster planning should begin before the impacts of hazards are felt. Within the region, youth have been trying to address these issues through advocacy, raising awareness of climate change and disaster risk reduction, as well as capacity building sessions in communities. Young people are also a part of the constructions of proposals, and that is why we look for safe spaces in this process to be able to contribute from our knowledge and experience. Through this forum, the youth aim to generate a website to host information to assist in the execution of local disaster risk reduction events and capacity building training sessions with youth leaders in the region. However, we cannot do it on our own, and we need the support of policymakers and regional organizations. We're living in unprecedented times where the Americas and the Caribbean region has been faced with multiple hazards simultaneously, and during a time in which climate change is expected to exacerbate these issues even further. Battling the COVID-19 pandemic alongside natural events has disrupted many livelihoods and increased inequality and vulnerability. We believe that hazards may be natural, but disasters are created, and we urge governments and organizations to listen to our suggestions on improving the disaster risk reduction space. Most importantly, we ask that you involve more youth and children in the process and generate spaces for our participation because disasters affect us maybe more so than they do you. Thank you.